Hey, happy Friday, May 2nd. It is May. Can't believe it already. May. Hope everyone's enjoying the start of their weekend. And it's supposed to be a great weekend here. So looking forward to it. But we have a new and exciting episode of the Real Deal podcast. And I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. You guys could probably see in the background a new logo. But before we get into it, let's hit that music intro. All right, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal podcast. Again, I'm your host as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with a new episode. Very excited. This is podcast family coming on to the show. Not a guest anymore. She's been on multiple times. So we're getting ready to bring her on in a few. But before we get started, again, thank you guys for all the comments on the new logo. I think it was time to just kind of not rebrand, but just get a new logo, new fresh there as well. So I got to pick my wife. She was one of the ones that pushed me in this direction on the new logo. I really like it as well. So, but I got to give a shout out to the graphic designer, Jeff Lambert, for doing that. Going for 2.com. He kind of just reached out and said, "Hey, I think it's time for." He did the first one, and he said, "I think it's time for a new logo. What do you think?" So we went through a couple of different options and came up with this. So again, thank you all for the feedback and all that as well. But you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple, Spreaker, BS3TVLive.com, BS3 Network, BS3 Network on the Roku channel as well. So yeah, we're all there, and you can follow me on all the social media platforms as well: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also on Blue Sky, TikTok. I think that's everything. So, all right. Well, I am not going to keep my guest much longer in the background. Let me bring her on. I'm always excited to talk CrossFit, fitness, and all these things. She is she's in it. She does CrossFit. She covers CrossFit. She has her own YouTube channel as well. She's also a news reporter. So welcome back to the show, Amanda Harry. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for always doing this. Every time I ask you, you always say yes, your game. And I'm just glad that we've connected on social media, and we love CrossFit. You, like I said, you're a participant in CrossFit. You cover it.
Yeah.
You have your YouTube channel. So everyone subscribe to our YouTube channel, Amanda Harry. It's HARI. Subscribe, like, share, all those things, but subscribe is the best way. And listen in. So I really appreciate you for doing this again.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I already got some comments as well. He says congrats on the logo. Thanks, Nathan, for Nathan
Awesome.
Ramachandra. Thank you. He said this looks amazing. He says hi, Amanda. He says yes, and happy Friday. He says, and keep up the great work, everyone. So yeah, really appreciate it. On that note, he's always a loyal listener as well. But how's everything going? We've been talking a little bit before we get into all the CrossFit and fitness, and so much news has happened over since the last time we talked. But how's everything going with you?
Everything's really good. I am enjoying life, enjoying work, enjoying being at the gym. I just finished up working out at my gym here, Diablo CrossFit in Pleasant Hill, California. It's a gym I was at for 3 years. I left for a little bit because I moved closer to a different gym. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to make the drive. I'm going to come back. The community and the programming here is just unmatched. So decided to drive a little bit more.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I do. Me and my wife, we do kickboxing, and same thing. It's kind of like the same thing. It's we drive about maybe 25 30 minutes depending on traffic, and to the gym. But when we moved, we had moved 3 years ago. We used to live right down the street from the gym, like it was walking distance. It was a 5-minute walk. But we love the gym. We love the community, like you said. and so we take that drive a couple times a week, and it's worth it. So I can definitely resonate with driving like a half hour to the gym, but we just love the trainers and the community and the people there. So I totally agree.
Keeps you coming back.
Yeah, it keeps coming back for sure, for sure. And like I said, you always you post a lot of your things that you do at the gym, CrossFit,
Mm-hmm.
things you do at the gym, and everything too. So how's your CrossFit journey been this year so far? I know you participated in the Open, CrossFit
Yeah,
Open, but how has that been this year so far for you?
it's been good. In the Open, it did become like apparent that I was a little bit less fit than I was a couple years ago when I was here at
Okay,
Diablo.
yeah,
So that was also part of what factored into my decision to
mm,
come back to this gym. Also, my other gym was at least considering de-affiliating or likely going to de-affiliate. I
okay,
don't think they've done it yet, but they had said they were going to de-affiliate, which was not something that was super aligned with what I wanted to do. So, between being less fit, missing the community here, and the de-affiliation, I'm like, got to go back to where I feel is the best fit for me.
yeah, for sure. And I know that's always a big thing, especially in fitness. The right gym, the right people, and just to continue your journey and continue. I know you said you've done how many opens now have you done with
11.
CrossFit? 11. Okay, yes, I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember you said just being part of that community for 11 years and doing the open and continuing to see just where your fitness is, and that's
Yeah.
just the way of life. Just the quite a few times I've talked to you, you said that's very important to you is staying
Hmm.
fit and just staying just locked in and plugged into in health. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing. So yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's get into some of this news. There's so much happening,
There
and I like I
is.
said, I follow you and I follow all the things you do for for CrossFit and just reporting and your channel. Like I said, subscribe to Amanda Harris channel as well. Let's start with. I want to let's start with Tia. Let's start with
Okay.
Tia, and we both have big opinions about the greatest of all time in CrossFit. I mean, I don't think that's even an argument. There's no arguments with there. I guess Rich can have he can definitely have some argument. Matt Frazier, a
Hmm.
few others, but Tia has won at almost at every level when it comes to uh, CrossFit, the games, Rogue Invitational, whatever it is. But she's getting into a little bit more of Hyrox, and it looks like she's head on in Hyrox. She qualified for the Hyrox championship in the doubles. Got a record with for the doubles as
Women's.
well, women's doubles as well. So a lot of excitement and promotion with Proven and Tia. What's your thoughts on her head on into she hasn't retired, but it seems like that's where it's going towards. But I know the last time we talked about, we said she has nothing else to prove. So if she retires, it's great for her. And now she's heading on to Hyrox. But what's your thoughts now as getting ready for this Hyrox championship next month?
Yeah, I think Tia deserves to like get her bag. Like she deserves to make money
Yeah.
however she wants to
Hmm.
make money,
Yeah, for sure.
and however she can leverage her success in CrossFit to have a successful career post CrossFit, good for her, right? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with her
Yeah.
expanding, with her reaching a different audience than she was reaching before. And yeah, she's won the CrossFit Games 7 times. I think that if she makes a decision to come back this coming year, which I think she still might. She said this is her last Torian, but she didn't say it's her last CrossFit Games. She never
Right.
said she wouldn't take her tickets to the CrossFit Games. She didn't say she was retiring. She didn't say any of these things. She just kind of said it was her last time at Torian. Those are different things, and her and Shane are very careful with the way they phrase things.
Hmm.
So I think that they would have said, like, if she wasn't doing the games at all, for sure, I think that would have been confirmed. She would
Yeah.
have said that. But she hasn't come out and said that. So I think we're going to have to see how Torian goes. If she gets her ticket, I think there's a good chance she might go and win her 8th CrossFit Games. But I do think at some point she's going to want to retire from doing CrossFit. She also made clear in that video that she likes challenges. She's been so
Yeah.
far and ahead in CrossFit that nobody even touches her really. Like she goes in and
Yeah.
she wins. That's why she did the Olympics and the bobsled and the Olympic lifting because she
Yep.
wanted challenges. So now she's taking on Hyrox. I think that her time in CrossFit is coming to its back end. She's 31, I believe. She'll be 32 this summer. So at some point, she's going to be a master's level athlete. Maybe she'll pursue that, although I think she'd be so far ahead in that as well.
Yeah.
So I think Hyrox is somewhere for her to have a new experience. It's a way to build the proven brand beyond just CrossFit, reach more people, make more money.
Yeah.
Good for her is really what I think.
No, I agree 100%. I agree. And it just seems like I think the last time me and you talked about that too, it feels like Tia, they said she loves a challenge, and I watch her just about like you watch her, her YouTube channel, and they put out, they put out some videos on there. And by the way, they're the Proven Fitness YouTube channel and her channel, her and Shane's channel now seem like they got a new videographer or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It seems like, is that right? It seems like
it's
worlds
like
ahead of what it used to be.
Style.
Documentary style, yes, yeah. And but even with Tia, it feels like she's more at ease. It seems like she's more excited about this. I mean, it's a new challenge. Maybe that's what it is. But I think me and you talk about her even at the last few CrossFit games. Yeah, she's out there. She's winning. She's competing. She's winning at the highest level. She's, like I said, she's the greatest of all time in that space. But it feels like these last couple of years, she's got more of a new, I don't know, perspective, or this is something. She's got a new fire. That's what it feels like to me on the outside. Maybe I had Lauren Khalil on maybe 2 months ago, and we were talking about this too, and she was saying the same thing. It feels like now Tia. It just feels like I said, a new challenge, and then she wants to like prove that, okay, I can do this too. And Hyrox, did you feel that same way with watching Tia very closely on the outside looking in? Just seeing like it's just more of a different, I guess, a different way of, okay, I now want to win this. I've accomplished so much in CrossFit. Not saying it's not a challenge, but now this seems like it's just more of her just being more happier, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tia's really evolved a whole ton as we've seen her over the years. Like her first couple of years at the CrossFit Games, when she was finishing second, her attitude and her perspective was completely different. I remember seeing in one of the behind the scenes, I believe it was, or maybe it was in one of the films, but someone asked for a photo with her, and she was like, "Oh, you're going to want to delete that because I'm not going to do very well after this next event," or something like that. Her confidence it just wasn't there. She was in a different place. And now she's built that confidence up a lot. And I think now that she has a child and some of her perspectives have changed, right? Like when she was first winning, the focus was winning. And that was pretty much it. Now the focus is, oh, how do I make this sustainable? How do I take this winning and make it a full-time career beyond just my days on the field of play? Now I have this company called Proven. I need to build that. And now she has a kid, and I think that changes everyone's perspectives, right? Like she has a little girl that's looking up to her, and she wants to probably show that little girl, you can do anything, and you can love your life and be happy. And I think kids also help people stay in the moment, to be like, I just have to enjoy this today and not worry about next week so much, because we have to be present. So I think that all of these things that she's had, and we've watched Tia grow up in some ways beyond like in front of her eyes. She's won 7 CrossFit games. She finished second twice before that. She's been in the space for a decade. We watched her go from a 21-year-old to a 31-year-old. And you're going to expect change there. And I think she also has a confidence in herself that she just lacked, and she understands herself in a different way than she did when we first started. And I think that's kind of an awesome thing to see, and to see it go such a positive way. Because we've also seen athletes struggle to stay in the space, right? Like we saw Mal O'Brien, who was very young in the space and then struggled to keep staying in it. So to see someone really come into their own and be even more true to themselves as they get farther along is a special thing. And I think it's great for her.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you're right. I think her being a mother, a businesswoman, and she has evolved and grown. And like I said, she has nothing to prove. She's the greatest of all time. She could come in and yes, she would be the hands-on favorite if she decides at the Torian Pro to go to the games. Because like I said, she didn't make a statement. She just said that this is the last time she would do. They're more focused on Hyrox and the champion, Hyrox championship right now, but she left that door open. And I think you said they're very strategic and calculated of what they want to put out there.
And I don't think she had to do the open to do Torian. I think Torian could invite whoever they wanted.
Yeah.
So finishing top 1% in the Open was not a step that she needed to take if she wanted to retire at Torian.
Yeah.
But she did that step because
Yep.
that keeps open the door to go to the games.
Yep.
That's just a pretty clear thing. And she likes challenges, we said, like winning Hyrox and winning CrossFit in the same year. That would be a pretty impressive challenge. And also, it would be a good transition to Hyrox, right? She had like an overlap year, and then she can go totally into Hyrox.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's where her focus is. And he says she's going to be doing the teams and Hyrox. And I think the next challenge would be the elite, try to get in that elite 15 individuals. And I would not doubt her if and they said in the video, proven and they're trying to overtake Hyrox, and there's a lot of buzz for Hyrox, and I think that's what the challenge is. And like I said, we've been watching in CrossFit for a while. The buzz is not what it used to be, and that's just what it is, just by the way the Open was, and the crowd. And you talked about this, the fans. I mean, it's still. I mean, CrossFit's been in for 18 years, so Hyrox still has a long way to get to that level. I think they've been there, 10 years, I believe, or close to it, 9 or 10 years. So CrossFit has got a big jump on it, but the buzz for Hyrox is high because now you have CrossFitters going into Hyrox, and we talked about that too. The transition of some of the CrossFit. Now there's a lot of reasons what has happened, what has transpired over the last year, where some are not doing CrossFit, or at least the games. At least we got to talk about the WFPs. We're going to talk about that in the next segment, but the World Fitness Project. But yeah, so I mean, now you got Matt Frazier, HWPO, another all-time great in CrossFit. He's tackling it now. He's talking about him racing in November as well. He's doing training. So I mean, what's your whole take on that? Like CrossFit getting more into the Hyrox space, and some of them are just using it as fitness just to stay fit, while others are really taking it serious and really want to be part of it.
Yeah, I think Matt Frazier sort of does he sees opportunities to be successful and make money, and he takes advantage of them. I mean, that's the main reason he got into CrossFit, right? Like, he was doing it to stay fit after he finished up with his Olympic lifting, and he's like, oh, wait, I'm actually kind of good at this, so I can go to competitions on weekends and make some money while I'm in college. Right. And that's why he started doing it. And he's like, oh, here's this Hyrox thing. I might be able to be good at this too and make some money there, and I can sell programming for this and make money.
Yep.
I mean, we all have to make money, right? We live in a society that requires that.
It requires to make money, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that this makes sense from a business perspective for Matt, for Tia. And Matt has sort of distanced himself a little bit from the CrossFit space. HWPO isn't quite as strong in it. They don't have quite as many athletes. They still program for some competitions. I believe they're doing Torian, but they're just not as focused solely on CrossFit. So this is another opportunity to expand and to reach more people. And I think Hyrox and CrossFit have a lot of crossover in what they do. People have said Hyrox is kind of like a long CrossFit workout, and I do think there is some similarities there. And it's it's something that everyone can do, and it's kind of like a marathon, right? Like, marathons don't change. They're 26.2 miles. They're never going to be 28. They're never going to be 23. They're the same thing every time. And you can test that and see how you do over time. Hyrox is very similar to that, just a continuously testable workout. And you can do it among friends. You can look at the elites and do the exact same thing that the elites are doing. So it has its appeal, and I think it makes sense for a lot of these programmings, Matt, Tia, to get involved with them.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. And I love seeing the crossover. I do, as a fan, and just seeing the high athletes, just, competing. And I think that's what it's about. You said it's a business for people like Tia, and athletes like Tia, like Matt, and they're using their proven fitness and HWPO. I agree. 100%.
I think it says something about how CrossFit translates.
Yeah.
Now you can use CrossFit to train for these things.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really good point. Last on Tia, do you feel like, in your opinion, do you think she's going to retire after Torian Pro? I think we talked about this, and I predicted, I said she's going to retire after Torian Pro. I think she's her last time competing, and she says, my last time maybe here. And I think that's going to be her swan song. I think Toy and Pearl is it. I really do, but I could be wrong. I mean, if she goes to the games and she wins that, I think that's what she does too. But I feel like she retires after Toy and Pearl. What do you think?
I don't. I think she
Okay.
retires after the games. I think if she was going to retire at Torian Pro, the smartest marketing move would just be flat out say you're retiring. Think about like Coach
Yeah.
K when he went on his like retirement tour,
Yeah.
right? Like everyone was like, we got to go to the Duke game because this might be the last time we'll ever see Coach K coach a game. And it sells
Right.
extra tickets. I went to a game here in, they played in San Francisco at the Chase Center in the Elite Eight and Sweet 16. And I went to the Sweet 16 games. I'm like, this is could be Coach K's final game ever. That's a way to get people to go to things. I feel like if this is her last time ever going to be there, she should say, hey, this is my last time. You'll never see me compete in CrossFit again. And that would get those seats filled.
Yeah, and you're right. For a marketing standpoint, yes, that's a very, very good analogy because if she says like even at the games, just to generate even more buzz for it, Tia's last games, Albany, New York, that'd be great. She comes in and wins again, and then I feel like even said if Tia comes back, she's gonna win. I mean, she'll just get herself. I know she'll get herself back in CrossFit shape. And because she's in the Hyrox shape now, a lot of running, a lot more running, and she talked about that. But now to be okay, let me get back. I got 2 more months, get stronger again because more strength in CrossFit and the unknowable as they call it of things. You said she knows what Hyrox is about. It's the same stations, and it's just about more of the running. It's getting the running. So yeah, for a marketing standpoint, I agree. I think that'd be excellent for her to say yes, I'm here to retire at the games, and the build up would be tremendous. So, all right, let's get into some CrossFit. We have the semifinals, the online semifinals. I saw your video. Excellent video.
They call it in affiliate, technically.
In affiliate,
you call it online too. It is online.
Yeah, online, right. Right. Do you like the online in affiliate semifinals or in person? And again, Tia said in her last video, improving. That's one of the reasons why she wants to do Hyrox because she didn't know what the season looked like, and she said, I want to compete in person. I like competing in person, not online. I want to compete in person. I think some people are taking that and saying, I want to compete in person too. But what's your opinion on these in affiliate online semifinals?
I don't think anyone likes the online semifinals. Like, I don't think anyone's like, this is the best way to do it.
Right.
But I do think it does lessen the amount of overhead CrossFit has to have. It saves them money to do it this way. So that's a plus when CrossFit is trying to save money to stay afloat. Yeah. So I get that. Also, it does give people more opportunities to qualify. I think this system that's more like the sanctionals gives a lot of people opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise, right? Like Alexis Raptis didn't have the best weekend at Mayhem a couple weeks ago, last month.
Yep.
And she still has another opportunity to qualify this weekend. She'll have another opportunity to qualify at Syndicate if she wants it, and then maybe also at the last chance qualifier. So it gives these athletes more opportunities, and I think that's a plus. This is a easy competition for a lot of people to do. They don't have to worry about the cost of traveling to all these competitions. That could be expensive, especially for some of the smaller athletes that don't have the big sponsorships to pay for that sort of stuff. So it does allow more people to get involved. It's more boring for us as spectators, 100%, right? Like we don't get to see it. That's not exciting. Right. But it's better. I think it's a better opportunity for a lot of athletes. I know a lot of athletes like competing in person, but like I said, it makes it a lot cheaper for the athletes that just can't afford to pay the admission to get into these competitions, to travel for these competitions, to take off time maybe from their jobs for these competitions. So it does open the doors for a lot more people who aren't the Tias that have millions of dollars literally to spend on doing the CrossFit games or have a sponsor just going to pick up the bill. It allows more people to compete and more opportunities to qualify. So, well, it's not the most enjoyable to watch or to cover. I think it's a good opportunity for the athletes. Maybe it shouldn't be 11 of the positions in the future. Maybe it should be a smaller competition so that we have more in-person events. But I think having an online option like this is a positive for most of the athletes and for us getting the best people of the games.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I think from that standpoint, I think it is better. You said save money and travel and everything too. I mean, about that when you cover the games. Travel is it can get expensive,
Yeah.
And now it's in Albany, New York. You have to travel across the country just to get to
Yeah.
just to get there. And I think we talked about that, how much I went to Rogue 2 years ago, and it gets expensive. Travel itself is just expensive, and I can only imagine, especially like you said, if you're not the high elite like Tia and others, for sponsorships and things like that. That's what you said. You're doing this. You do it for CrossFit for fitness and money. You got to kind of make money. So I agree. I think it's another thing. We did have a couple people. They announced that they're not going to be doing the in affiliate semifinals as well. Emily Rolfe and Alex Gazan, they took the weekend off. Neither one's injured, but maybe they want to do the in person semifinals as well. So that I guess that could be said they're skipping the online due to congested competition schedule. Also, they're in the World Fitness Project, so that's another one that's should be where a lot of people. That's next week. So let's transition to that. What do you think of now? How excited are you about the World Fitness Project?
Well, first, I will also add on the people that are sitting out. Some of them sat out because of the workouts as well. Like I know Alex Kazan said that was part of her decision to sit out, was the workouts weren't very good for her to qualify. I think
Right.
for Emily Roll, that's the case too. Like I think if the workouts were perfect for them, if they're like, oh my God, I can hit these out of the park, they probably would have stayed in it. But their likeliness of qualifying and the amount of fatigue they'd have to put on their body before the World Fitness Project didn't make sense to them.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the World Fitness Project, I'm pretty excited about it. I want to see what it is. There's so much questions about what this is going to look like, right? Like when we had semifinals in the past or regionals, like we knew what those were going to look like. Mayhem coming up back in April, we were like, we know this is going to be great. We know this is going to look good.
Right.
But we have no idea what World Fitness Project is going to look like. And there's just so many questions. And in some ways it makes it more exciting because you're like, this could be a great
thing,
thing, or it could fall a little bit flat, and soon we'll know after months of waiting to know. So I'm definitely excited for it. I hope that it does go well. I want to see it succeed. I want to see athletes have more opportunities. I enjoy watching the competitions. I want to talk about more competitions. So I want it to go well. I don't know if it will, because I do know that this is expensive and hard to do. And I was around when Grid League was around.
Yeah.
And I was super excited about that. And that kind of fell flat. I know it's still around in some capacity, but it's not the same as what they were hoping it would be.
What they go for, right.
Yeah. So I fear that it could end up having a similar fate to Grid, but that's not what I'm hoping. I would love to see it be a really big thing. I just don't know if there's the appetite for it. I don't know if it's going to look good enough to compete with some of the other stuff we have. There's just a lot of questions still.
A lot of questions, agreed. And I hope it succeeds too, just because of just being a fan. And someone's in the chat, Nikki Rogers says, World Fitness Project will die within 2 years. We'll see. I mean, it's an unknown. And there's a lot of buzz for it, lots of buzz, and it can only help CrossFit. And as much as CrossFit probably needs it, this could be another outlet for it. So right, it could be either one. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited for it, just because you're right. It's more things to talk about. A lot of elite athletes have joined. And it's another way again to make money and to put themselves out there even more, because I think he said CrossFit at this point is at a crossroads, and I think it definitely needs it. So it can only help the individual, it can only help the athletes, help the affiliates, and we'll see what happens. If it does well, it's good for all parties.
Yeah, I think so too. And that also helped with Grid, right? Like there were a lot of elite athletes doing Grid. Annie Thor's daughter was doing Grid. And so that doesn't necessarily translate to it working out, but maybe it does. Like I would love to see it be successful. think there's more opportunities. It's always good, and you have to use CrossFit to train for it, even if they don't want to use CrossFit's name on it. That's the type of workouts they're doing, so it does benefit CrossFit. So we'll see.
Right, exactly. All right, just got a couple more before I let you go. What's been for you the biggest story in the CrossFit season so far?
This year?
Yeah, so far this year.
I mean, the WFP is probably the biggest story in CrossFit so far this year. It just it kind of throws a wrench in some things, right? Like now we have some athletes, like we were talking about, Emily Rolfe and Alex Kazan pulling out partially because of the World Fitness Project. We have a bunch of these European athletes who are doing, like Yona Koski, who did Wadland last week, is doing in affiliate semifinals this week, and is doing WFP next week. So it's kind of added a crazy schedule for a lot of people, and it's added a lot of questions to the season, and it's added a lot of questions for next season too, right? Like the bigger question might be like, what does this mean next year? How is it going to impact things next year? Is it going to conflict even more with the game schedule? Are they going to make athletes sign non-competes where they can't do the game? So I think that's been the biggest story. I think the story is still unfolding, right? Like we need to figure out what next week looks like to really know how this story ends, because we don't know. We're in this story. We're in the middle of the biggest story right now.
Yeah, we are in the middle of it, and I think that's a good point. Yeah, I think that's the biggest. So far that's the biggest story in the first 5 months of the year with CrossFit as well. And you know, I think another big story is some of the athletes that are not competing for the games as well. And then we talked about that before. I think that's a huge story. And we get to see what the games look like. There's still a lot of big names involved. But if Tia does say she doesn't do it, the women's division is so wide open, and it looks different because even no Laura Horvath either.
So, no Gabby Magala, she's injured. But I think that adds to the excitement. I think there's arguments that if Tia doesn't do it, in some ways it might be better. Although with Tia being partially focused on Hyrox, I think it does level the playing field a little bit. While I would pick Tia to be the favorite, I don't know if I would pick her to be as dominantly favorited as she has in the past. So I think that this just adds more competition, and I think it's better.
Yeah, for sure. Because you got names like Emily Roth and Haley Adams and Alex Kazan, just some big Danielle Brandon, names that have been top 10. Ariel Lowen have been some of the, been just waiting to either podium or been close to podium, and now if Tia leaves that door open, her and Laura leave that door open, because Laura's not competing at all. She's at the World Fitness Project. The women's division is very wide open.
I'm excited to see what Lucy Campbell's going to do. She's been an exciting story this year. So there's a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And then on the men's side is wide open. it's just,
a lot of, When I was going over my list of people that qualify or people to qualify at the in-affiliate semifinals, one of the things I noted was there's so many men who have won the games. You have Jeff Adler, you have Justin Medeiros, you have James Sprague. All three of them could qualify this weekend. All three of them are CrossFit Games winners. And they could be back at the games competing to possibly win again.
Yeah. I mean, the big names there, like you said, they've won the last 3 or 4 CrossFit Games, and they're still competing at a high level. And as I said, it's so wide open. You got Ricky Garrard, you got Roman Krinikov. These are podium threats and have been on the podium as well. So I think that's one of the biggest stories too. It's I don't think there's not a clear-cut favorite on either side. Dallin Pepper and Colton Mertens, who's been really doing very well at the Mayhem Classic and at the Open as well. So so many wide open. I think that's what makes this CrossFit season does make it a little does make it exciting.
Yeah, I think that's it's good for the sport. And you can argue Dallin Pepper's a CrossFit Games winner already too.
Yeah,
he won
the teenage division.
Ager.
Yes, yep, TEN, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right, it's got one
Teen
more.
and team sound so similar that I feel like I need to specify.
You have to specify. You do. It does. You do. You say team or teams. Like, wait, was he on a team? No, he was a teenager when he won.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to ask you about CrossFit and media. Um, there's been a lot of talk about CrossFit media. It's not as good as it used to be when they pull apart the team back in 20, I think it was 2017, 2018, when it was at its peak. And now, do you feel like CrossFit media is missing opportunities to highlight the athletes more? We see Hyrox is doing that, and they're doing an excellent job of highlighting them. But do you feel like CrossFit and the media, like Miles to Madison, I missed that. You got to know. I know Dave Castro does his, the athlete interviews, and he's doing the affiliate ones. I think those are great, and I think it was good, especially last year when he did all 80 athletes. But do you feel like they're missing opportunities to do a little bit more?
They certainly are missing the opportunities, but I'm also not sure if it makes the most sense for them to take advantage of those opportunities. They used to have those Road to the Games videos. They were fantastic. I think everybody loved them. They were some of the best things that CrossFit did. And then there was I think it was the 2014 games, that documentary they did about it. That one started beforehand. The documentary was before the actual competition. I think those were fantastic. I do think those are very costly, right? And this all comes back to the idea that CrossFit's in a space where they're trying to be profitable, where they're trying to sell the company right now. They need to show that their numbers are good or trending in the right direction. And I think that anything that drains them financially might not be the best idea to get to a good spot, right? Like, this might be something they should do in the future, but right now they're just trying to gain back competitors after last year's CrossFit Games, gain back fans after they've lost some. That spending the money on that may not be the best thing to do, right? And you have someone like Killer who's also doing those types of things right now. So he's filling a need in that space when he does those videos following the athletes around. And those videos do really well for him. So I think at this point, it might just be better for them they are missing the opportunity, but I don't know if it's a bad business move to miss that opportunity right now. And Dave Castro interviewing the athletes costs nothing, I think. And it does give them some amount of presence in interacting with the athletes. And CrossFit has been doing some cool videos that they've put out on their CrossFit YouTube page, not the Games YouTube page, I believe, like with Rebecca Voigt. They did one with at the Masters. That was pretty cool. So they do some here and there, but they're just not traveling out just to see athletes as much anymore. And I think that financially it probably makes sense for them right now.
Yeah, you're probably right. And the solution I would do is hire you as their media person. Have someone like you and others in that space who do so much good content and really and would highlight the athletes and their journeys and maybe behind it. And I know a lot of the athletes, they take, like I said, we talk about the Proven, we talked about HWPO and Mayhem. They do their own to highlight the athletes, and I think that's great. I just feel like they do their job, and they do a good job. I just think that Andrew Hiller just jumped on. He said, "Why not me?" Thanks for coming on.
I mentioned you, Hiller.
Thanks for coming on. Hey, we appreciate you coming on to the show. I mean, it's huge, but I think something like that would be would help it as well. I got one more. Go ahead.
I'm open to them hiring me if they want to call me.
Yes. Call me in the hair. That would be great. That'd be excellent. Last one, I wanted to ask you, how do you when thank you for tuning in, Andrew. I really appreciate it. Talk about when you do your research and how you do your videos. I think it's fascinating when in this space. When you do your research, do you go on like certain listen to other podcasts, or do you read a lot of different things or just go on Instagram and YouTube and check out things? I love how you do your topic. Talk about behind the scenes of how you do your topics and when you do your YouTube channel and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all of it. One, it's being
Okay.
in this space for more than a decade.
Yeah.
So some things just have knowledge about. You're just pulling
Yep.
from past things that you've done, past things that you've seen. I've been to like 8 or 9 CrossFit games. So this past experiences, that's big, like just gaining knowledge over time. But then also, yeah, following the athletes on Instagram, looking at their Instagrams, looking at previous data. So sometimes when you're looking at who you think might qualify, who might do well in certain formats, looking at those past competitions, looking at the results on the leaderboards, comparing those. That's really helpful. Watching other podcasts in space is also very helpful, so you can see what other people are noticing that you may not have missed. So I think there's a lot of places. And then reading things like, even sometimes like going back and reading certain rules and things like that, like checking
Yeah.
in on Torian and being like, hey, do they require athletes to do the open? I don't think they do. It doesn't say anything about that. And
Right.
pointing that out when Tia said that that was, that she was doing Torian but didn't need to do the open, but would need to do the open to do the games, and keeping open that door, like being able to connect those things and knowing what things need to be connected.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of. I had wanted to ask you that before. I said, how do I always enjoy that. How do you come up with your topics and just like a pull back a curtain a little bit, a day in the life of Amanda Harriet, how she does her research. And I figured because you're always prepared and well prepared, and as this when you do you have your own channel or your own podcast, you have to be well prepared for the audience. And so I always
I
ask
think
my guest
I,
that.
I think part of it is just really loving it too, right? Like I
Yeah. Oh
really
yeah.
enjoy this and I want to know this knowledge. And even prior to doing my YouTube channel, I was looking up half of these things. I was
Hmm.
researching this. I was paying attention to all of this. So it's just taking something that I love and that was a passion and hobby of mine and just using it to do something else. So
Yeah.
it's something I would be doing even if I wasn't doing this.
Right, right. All right. Well, I know your YouTube channel is growing. Thank you again for coming on to the show. I always appreciate you doing this, taking the time of your busy schedule. And like I said, we always figure out time to do this. So I really appreciate that as well. Let everyone know where they can actually follow you, and like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And what's next for you in these next few months? I know, like I said, the season's now it's May, getting ready for the games. We've still got more semifinals, but what's next for you heading into the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, you can find me at Amanda Harry here on YouTube. I have an Instagram too, so you can check me out. Google, look me up. What's next for me? I will be at the NorCal Classic.
Oh
That's
yeah,
happening in Sacramento, so that's not too far from where I live in the Bay Area. So I plan to be there for that. I hope to be at the CrossFit Games if I get a media credential, and maybe even if I don't, maybe I'll just get a ticket. But I
yeah,
hope to be at the CrossFit Games. So those are the two big things that I have coming up next in the season.
yeah. Like you said, you covered a lot of games. I remember
Yes.
talking about that, talking about a lot of games. But yeah, the
Was it
NorCal
9
that's
or
in
8 of
what,
them?
June, right? NorCal's in June, right?
June. Yes, beginning of June,
Yeah.
like a month from now.
Okay. All right. Well, look forward to that. Look forward to your coverage on that. I know you get a lot of good content and interviews, and you do your recap. So I look forward to everything you got going on. Again, thank you again. I really appreciate it, and enjoy the weekend. And hopefully we'll get some coverage of these semifinals this weekend. If
Yeah.
not,
It'll,
WFP is WFP is next week, so we'll definitely have something
yes.
to look forward to. I'm sure you'll be doing a video on that as well. So always look forward to all your content as well. So again, thanks a lot, man. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.